Yeah, thank you, Dan. No host nation has ever lost all 3 of its group games at a World Cup, and it's that unwanted record that will surely fire up Qatar against the Netherlands this evening. They've already become the first host to bow out after match day 2, but after all the expense, razzmatazz, showmanship and build-up to staging football's showpiece, they'll want to depart with a bang rather than a whimper. That bang could be by knocking out the Netherlands, but LVG's side know that a point would be enough for qualification, and a handsome win would take them some way to securing top spot and a Saturday afternoon round of 16 encounter with either England, Iran, the USA or maybe even Wales. But it's fair to say they've been far from convincing to date in the win over Senegal, and were lucky to escape Ecuador with a draw. But while all the evidence points to undoubted Dutch delight, this is the World Cup, and as we've witnessed in the last 9 days, anything can and will happen. Let's run you through the 2 teams. 2 changes for the Netherlands. Nopart is the key for the back 3. Timber, Van Dijk and Ake. Dumfries and Blind are the 2 wing-backs. De Roon comes into the starting 11 for the first time in Qatar alongside Frankie de Jong. David Kasem will play in that number 10 role behind Gakpo, and Memphis Depay, who also makes his first start in this tournament. 1 change as well for the hosts. Bodif goes out, Hatem comes in. It's Barsham in goal. A back 5 of Mohamed, Miguel, Kuki, Hassan and Ahmed, with Hatem, Madibo and Haldahados in midfield. And the 2 misfiring strikers yet to hit target here in Qatar, Ali and Afif, will lead the line. We are your appetiser to tonight's main course, of course, of England against Wales, and with all good starters you need a fine wine to accompany it, and I have one of the best. Part of England's World Cup squad in 1986, Alvin Martin is alongside me. The papers, the stats, the numbers, everything points to Holland, the Dutch, Netherlands as we call them. But is there a chance for Qatar?
There's always a chance in football, Adam, always a chance. And look, up to this point, the World Cup in Qatar has given us a lot of surprises, so why not? Why not? That's the way they've got to be thinking now. Give it all you've got, get a slice of luck, maybe bounce the ball. Who knows in football?
Our referee in charge is the Gambian experienced FIFA official Bakary Gassama, his 3rd World Cup after outings in Brazil and Russia, but the first time we've seen him in Qatar this time round. He's been FIFA listed since 2007. Doesn't like a red card though, just 5 straight reds in 137 games officiating. He'll be hoping for a quiet afternoon as we're underway. The Dutch, of course, as ever, in the traditional orange, and Qatar will play in that all-white strip. What I will say in the Al Bayt Stadium is that there are an awful lot of empty seats, considering this is the home side in action.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe if you got points for singing the national anthem, Qatari side might have been able to start off on the right foot, but unfortunately you don't. You've got to actually play. You've got to get the ball in the back of the net. You've got to defend.
The start of the second half of the World Cup is underway, and immediately chasing into the penalty area, trying to get on the end of the ball is Memphis Depay inside the first minute, already trying to make a decent run and stretch that Qatari backline, and he wasn't far away from getting there.
I think what that was designed to do there from Van Dijk was just to push them back a little bit. They've started the game, Qatar, with him, maybe trying to get as advanced up the pitch as he can, and as soon as you play a ball over the top of that last defender and a player nearly gets in, then it pushes the back line a little further back, which gives you more space then to operate in.
It is the second half of this World Cup. We reached the halfway point yesterday, of course, in terms of games. Match number 33 and 34 getting underway simultaneously as we reach the finale of Group A. Ecuador against Senegal, of course, both those sides in with a chance of qualifying, particularly if the Dutch were to lose here significantly today against Qatar. That game is live over on TalkSport 2, of course. Download the app and you can flick between stations, maybe whichever one you're finding the most entertaining this afternoon. Here down the right hand side, coming forward for the Dutch is Timber. He's midway inside the Qatari half. Out wide is Dumfries, of course, who scored a couple of really good goals at the Euros last year for the Dutch before they crashed out against the Czech Republic. They've been reduced to 10 men in that game, of course, and well, that's really the story. They very often are flattering to deceive when it comes to the knockout stages of competitions. They are a tough old side to get the better of, though, often outside the 90 minutes. But this time round, the qualification's not been simple. A victory first up, of course, against Senegal, and then that draw against Ecuador, despite a really good performance by that Ecuador side, led, of course, by Enner Valencia, who leads the scoring charts with Kylian Mbappe at this World Cup so far. But Cody Gakpo is on show today, not far behind. Ball over the top here for Qatar to try and get onto the end of the chase to be made by Ali, but it was just a little too far ahead of him. I feel the flag may well have gone up had he got there, but they're breaking forward once more, this time with Mohamed, who drills the shot, and it's straight this time at Nopper, who has to make the first save of the game.
Oh, so it washed all the way, wasn't it, by the Netherlands keeper there, but he certainly struck it well. What was he, 40 yards out? It could have been something like that, but I thought it was going to take one worldy strike, and they started off bright. There's a lot of energy to their performance up to this point.
It's a free hit for them as well, isn't it? When you've lost those first two games and you are playing for pride, sometimes that can be the biggest motivator. Forward down that left-hand side come the Dutch once more through Memphis Depay inside the penalty area, tries to get a shot away, does he? He leaves it for the opportunity to drive one in from Klassen, and in the end it's desperate defending, and they've got themselves a goal kick. Daley Blind in there as well, good save by the keeper, and in the end it will be a goal kick, but scary moments for this Qatari back line.
Yeah, that's right. I think, as you said, it was a save that he had to make. The angle was against Blind, but look, they've pushed everybody forward, Holland. They're playing a back five, but the two wing backs are really in advanced areas. They are going to dominate possession, and they will look at changing the play really quickly. Van Dijk obviously can do it. Ake can do it as well. So, I think we'll see lots of that tonight.
I don't think they've scored an international goal since 2014, so that would have been a rare treat had the save not been made by Barsham at the time. Here's Ake with possession for the Netherlands on that far side. 4 minutes in on Talk Sport, part of your wall-to-wall World Cup coverage. The Netherlands 0, Qatar 0. On halfway, the Dutch have possession with Virgil van Dijk, familiar number 4, of course, on his back. It's cap number 52 for Van Dijk today. Forward it goes towards Depay, intercepted at the back by this five-man defence that Qatar have lined up across the edge of their penalty area, and they'll try and get it forward this time with Akram Afif down that right-hand side, looking to set away Ali, but it's safely at the feet of Andres Noppert away to our left-hand side.
I think Louis van Gaal will be watching this game tonight, and I think a lot of it won't be so much about the result. I think he'll expect to get the result here, Adam. It will be about the performance. He's already mentioned it a few times that he wants to see his team improving, and they've got a lot of improving to do if they're going to be any sort of threat to the eventual winners. So tonight isn't just about getting the job done. It's about seeing those improvements that they've obviously been working on previous to this game, whether it be video analysis, whether it be pressing, and they certainly look like they've placed a lot of importance on winning the ball back as high up the pitch as they can in the Netherlands.
Little bang of the head here for Ismail Mohamed, who's receiving some treatment on that far touchline. 32-year-old, just a clash of heads with Nathan Ake, an opportunity as well for Modibo to take on some fluids too. Modibo is very small, isn't he? When they were lining up for the anthems, you looked across and there was a sudden drop down to see Asim Modibo, who plays in that midfield, much shorter, and maybe that lower centre of gravity will see him impress in that midfield. They're just doing the usual concussion protocols here for Ismail Mohamed, who did have that little knock on the side as him and Ake both went up for the ball on the far touchline. We're 6 minutes in here and play delayed, but they'll just wait for a moment before allowing Mohamed to come back on. In the meantime, the Dutch will have a numerical advantage, and eventually the referee does wave his arm and allow him to return to the field of play. And the Dutch have possession on this right-hand side with Julian Timber, who came in after that first fixture, 2 in a row for him now. That's poor from Virgil van Dijk, who's striding into Qatari territory, and he's just given possession away, and it will give an opportunity to Barsham to clear from inside his own penalty area, but Van Dijk makes amends by winning that first header quite cleanly, and Pedro Miguel on that far side will look to try and get the ball forward here to Hassan Al-Heidos, who does well. He's just lost out though that time to David Klassen in the middle of the park, and the attempted shot was coming in from the edge of the penalty area by Cody Gakpo about 25 yards out, but it was blocked, and Afif has it on this near touchline, the left hand side, and forward now will come Qatar, but Good challenge that time, just to try and break play up down this right-hand side by De Roon. They have it back once more with De Jong on the left for the Dutch now, driving towards the edge of the penalty area. On his right foot here, De Jong tries to feed it through to Depay, then with a header on towards Klaassen at the edge of the 6-yard box. Klaassen does get there first, De Jong comes in as well. It's hurriedly cleared to the edge of the penalty area. Denzel Dumfries will drive it, but the whistle is up for a high boot. And again, it looks like another injury here, this time to Homam Ahmed inside the penalty area.
Well, obviously, the Netherlands will dominate possession, and it's possession really in and around the edge of the penalty area. It's good possession. It's not just around the halfway line, but a little bit sloppy start really by the Dutch team. The little balls that have been given away without any pressure on them. But whenever they do get the ball, I've got to say, Qatar, they look at getting forward, and they are committing bodies forward as well. So it's not as if they're just sitting there verbatim, and just trying to soak up pressure. They are, when they do get the opportunity, releasing people forward into more areas that maybe can cause a problem for the Netherlands.
Around Maglefi, it seems okay to continue. We've had 8 minutes here on Talk Sport. Netherlands 0, Qatar 0. It's goalless as well in the game between Ecuador and Senegal. Of course, that has a huge bearing on who comes out of Group A and ultimately who England or maybe Wales will face in the next round. That game, of course, the build-up starts at 5 o'clock UK time. Adrian Durrant, Jim Proudfoot and the former England defender Stuart Pearson, the former Wales striker Dean Saunders will be guiding you through that one. Again, we have another moment for a couple of head injuries. Daley Blind has gone down, and once more it's a collision between him and Ismail Mohammed. Both players on the floor at the moment and looking to receive some treatment, it would seem.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going down a lot of the time, isn't there? I think this could be one of them 10-minute jobbies at the end of this, I think.
I think they're already up to 2 or 3 by the standards that we've seen throughout this World Cup. There's a free kick this time, though, to Qatar on that right-hand side, and it's going to be taken by Akram Afif, who lifts it inside the penalty area, headed back across the edge of the 6-yard box, and there's a batch of orange shirts who can get it clear. It almost fell quite nicely to Kuki that time, but it was Virgil van Dijk in the end that assisted in getting it clear, and Barsham will have it at the edge of his own penalty area. Left-footed, plays the ball forward, but only as far as Van Dijk, who is midway inside his own half, and his volley forward can't find Gakpo down this right-hand side, and it'll be another throw to the host nation midway inside their own half.
Just for a little fortunate there, Adam, because they didn't win the first header, and the header was a good one, put into a danger zone. They just didn't have anyone, Qatar. It was alive to it. He took a chance, where's it going to drop? Otherwise, I think they might have got something out of that.
Ale Dos did well, but then lost out in the middle of the park. Now down this right-hand side, Dumfries is trying to cut forward as he gets the ball from Timber. Good footing down this near touchline, and the ball comes out to Afif once more, who is fouled in the process, is he? Well, he's gone down. Probably about the second or third attempt to take him down that time by Denzel Dumfries is penalised, and it will be a free kick for Qatar midway inside their own half.
Well, the first 10 minutes has shown us that they are certainly motivated. Qatar, they are going to work hard. Every one of them is chasing every ball, and they are up for this game. Whether that's enough for them to see a good performance or even a point, I don't know, but certainly their attitude in the first 10 minutes has been excellent.
It is almost 11 minutes played on Talk Sport. Netherlands 0, Qatar 0. Our wall-to-wall coverage of the World Cup, every single game. As I mentioned, we're on to game 33 and 34 right now of the 64 in total. And the game between Ecuador and Senegal remains goalless as well. The other game in this group, and that's live over on Talk Sport 2 right now. Trying to cut through there was Frankie de Jong. Lovely chip on by Klaassen. Blind inside the penalty area, pulls it back towards Gakpo near the penalty spot. Blind will get a second chance here towards Klaassen, and then it ricochets off of 2 white shirts, Kuki being the last of those, and it flies up into the arms of Michel Barsham, all in blue in the Qatari goal.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Blind is going to get lots and lots of possession in the left-hand side. Acres of space there. I thought he was poor on his choice of ball, Adam, I've got to say. He had 3 or 4 tangerine shirts in there, and he didn't pick one of them out.
And it wasn't the best from Daley Blind, of course, a veteran of this Dutch side, that's for sure. 97th cap today, so depending on how far they go in this competition, could well reach his centenary, but only his second World Cup, of course, due to that failure to qualify in Russia 4 years ago. Here come the Dutch again, trying to tiptoe their way through the defence here. Klaassen just tries to lift it forward to Gakpo and Depay, that is lurking inside the penalty area, coming back in towards the danger zone. It's half-headed clear, but only as far as Gakpo and then Klaassen, and then the referee blows his whistle to give the free kick at the edge of the penalty area. Very experienced official. He's been busy in the opening exchanges here, of course, the Gambia, but as I said, the first time we've seen him in this World Cup, and if it was an offside against Memphis Depay, then I don't think he probably was, but the whistle blew anyway, and it will be a free kick for Qatar, and this time they've conceded a free kick inside the centre circle, and it's William Timber who goes down. He's fouled, and the free kick is taken quickly by Virgil van Dijk out wide to the left-hand side. The Dutch doing all the attacking at the moment without managing to fashion a real clear opportunity inside the penalty area. Vink gets it forward to Ake, and Ake will just go wide to the left-hand side. The former Manchester United man is there again as he tips it down that left-hand touchline where the run's been made by Memphis Depay, but it's a good challenge this time by Pedro Miguel, and it goes out for a throw to the Dutch.
I think Qatar probably would have been sent out with the mindset of, maybe the first half, cut it into 3 pieces, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. First 15 minutes, if we can keep clean sheets through those, those thirds, then we'll have certainly achieved something in the first half, and they're not far off actually achieving that first portion of it. 30 minutes gone, still 0-0, they'll be happy with that.
46-year-old Felix Sanchez, of course, the man in charge of this Qatari side, spent some time at the Barcelona Academy for 10 years, knowing the tricks of the trade, and we were discussing before the game that the record going into the competition for Qatar was pretty decent. Here's Frankie de Jong who hits that, and Memphis Depay gets onto the rebound, it hit the defender and came to Depay, who then tried almost the scissor kick volley from around about 12 yards out, but it's over the top of the crossbar.
De Jong at the moment looks like the one Dutch player who's got a killer ball in him, or a little bit of creativity, guile. He certainly had the shot there. They got lucky with the deflection. It came up to Depay. He's taken it on his right boot, took it with the laces on a sidewinder as it is. Wasn't able to keep it down.
Oh, I like that sidewinder. That's a nice phrase. I'll take that one. It came off the backside of Klaassen in the end. Actually, that was who blocked the shot from Frankie de Jong in the first place. It's going to be a goal kick here for Qatar as we approach the quarter-hour mark. It's still 0-0 between Ecuador and Senegal in the other game in Group A this afternoon, and just going to ground was Akram Afif midway inside his own half. It's allowed the Netherlands to steal possession here. Gakpo in the wide position, about 7 or 8 yards outside the right edge of the penalty area. Tall, lanky figure. Gakpo puts it down that right-hand touchline. Dumfries gets to the byline, cuts it back across, and that's really good defending from Hassan Al-Aidos inside the penalty area. The captain puts it behind and out of play for a corner down this right-hand side.
Yeah, highly motivated. You can see every one of the Qatar players in that penalty area, desperate to get onto that ball. They are being asked a few questions, a few more than they would like at this moment.
Standing firm so far, though, the Dutch to deliver down this right-hand side, and as we've seen throughout this World Cup, the referee getting very clear, and this signal of "I've got my eyes on you," well, I would always hope the referee has his eyes on while the corner's being taken. It's Martin de Roon who's putting the pressure on the goalkeeper, being held off by Abdulaziz Hatem right now, as that swung to the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away well for Qatar. It will come out again on this right-hand side, but the offside flag goes up immediately against Gakpo down this right-hand side, and it will be a free kick for Qatar, a chance to clear their lines. We've had 16 minutes of this game here on TalkSport. It's the Netherlands 0, Qatar 0.
I can't remember seeing too much of Gakpo. It's the first time we've mentioned, I think, in commentary there, Adam. So that shows you that they've done something well, Qatar.
Scored 13 goals early on this season for PSV, of course, in the Dutch league. Very impressive in the Eredivisie. But as Alvin was mentioned, went a bit quiet leading into the tournament, but 2 goals so far, of course. Just behind the likes of Mbappe and Enner Valencia, who lead the way in the race for the Golden Boot at this World Cup, of course. You won't be surprised to hear that the Dutch are on the attack again down the right-hand side with Dumfries, and he just gets it on to Gakpo, who's immediately closed down on this near touchline by Hassan, who forces him back infield. Frankie de Jong, who's seeing an awful lot of the ball alongside Duron there in midfield. Out wide to Ake, left-hand touchline with Daly Pin in towards the edge of the penalty area. Back to goal for Memphis Depay, and he's penalised for a bit of shirt pulling, and it's a free kick for the host nation. Away from the World Cup this Saturday, TalkSport will bring you live an exclusive radio commentary of Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora, the trilogy for that WBC heavyweight title. And our expert team, the best in the business, Adam Catterall leading them, Gareth A. Davis, of course, Andy Clark, and the former super bantamweight champion Spencer Oliver. Will there be an upset like the ones we've seen during this World Cup? Will that trend follow into the boxing ring on Saturday night? Listen to your radio, your smart speaker, or download the TalkSport app for free, of course, for Tyson Fury against Derek Chisora. Exclusive radio commentary this Saturday night. Here is Klassen trying to get in towards the edge of the penalty area down this right-hand side. But again, Abdelkarim Hassan with the challenge, and it's another corner to the Dutch down the right-hand touchline.
I think Louis van Gaal will be pleased that, all the games being played in the Qatar half. But he won't be as pleased that really they've only brought the one save out of the Qatar goalkeeper, and really for the possession they've had and the amount of possession in the box, that's poor.
There's a chance from the set piece though. Gakpo gets it over. Klassen with the free header in the end. He got to it, he had a bit of tension around him, but was still able to guide the header goalwards, but 3 or 4 yards wide of the right hand post. I think probably enough was done there by the combination of Kuki and Mohamed just to divert his attention and make it too difficult.
Looking at the size of both teams, the Netherlands have a big advantage in terms of height from set pieces. It's an area I'm sure they would have worked on getting good delivery in and getting something out of.
Based on what you've heard so far in the opening 19 minutes, it probably won't surprise you that the Dutch have almost 60% of the possession in this game so far, and just 18% for Qatar. They've got a free kick here as well, again the Dutch, and it's for a handball. Completely mistimed jump by Omar Ahmed. There was no argument really. I think Virgil van Dijk was asking for a yellow card, but not given, and the free kick is with Van Dijk on halfway, who gives it to Timber, back inside to Van Dijk, and Ake down that left-hand side, and Ake making his 32nd appearance in a Dutch shirt today, and the Rona's lost possession, and now a chance maybe to counter here for Qatar down this left-hand side with Akram Afif towards the edge of the penalty area, looking to cut onto his right foot, and then he's just tried to tee it up across the edge of the penalty area right by the D, but there was no Qatari player arriving.
I don't know what you've seen there. There's certainly a ball into no man's land, in a dangerous situation for once. They've got to make more of that.
Duron is hobbling around after that challenge where he lost the ball. I think there was a signal there from Akram Afif to Almoez Ali to say, where on earth were you? It was a moment, if someone had been arriving, to perhaps get a strike on goal, but nothing doing for Qatar so far. 20 minutes into the game here on TalkSport, your home of the FIFA World Cup, where it's the Netherlands 0, Qatar 0. Down wide on this right-hand side, coming forward is Dumfries again, so dangerous in that wing-back position, and he forces the challenge from Omar Ahmed, but there was a little shove there from Dumfries, the Inter Milan wing-back, and it's a bit of a soft one for me, but the assistant gave it, the referee obliges to, and it's a free kick for Qatar.
Yeah, I think it's surprised Ahmed. It was the Qatar player. He was pushed. He was ready to go in and defend the corner.
I think there's many who thought this would be a bit of a walk in the park for the Dutch today, but I think we've already seen in the opening 21 minutes, defensively, the host nation have no intention of making it simple for the Dutch to just stroll through to the round of 16. Remember, they just need to not lose, this Dutch side, for their place, but then that will depend on where they finish as winners or runner-up, as to which pathway they will follow as this World Cup continues. Almost a decent bit of interplay there between Afif and Ali, but it was intercepted in the end by Ake, and Ake will have to move in quickly here because Duron has just played a stray pass, and in the end he wins the header on this near touchline to keep it going and nod it into the Qatar half, and there's a bit of frustration there coming from the captain Al-Haydos, just because there was no Qatari players approaching what was a loose ball on halfway, and it's allowed the Dutch to gather possession once more and to try and find a way to just move this very staunch defence that Qatar are offering up so far out the way. It's with Ake inside the centre circle. Edgar Davids, of course, amongst the coaching staff here for the Dutch, and all Ake needs really is those shades, because his hair is looking very similar to Davids now, and actually his movement in nature sometimes similar to that of Edgar Davids as well. And Ake just pulled out of position, and a chance now for Qatar to come forward down the right hand side. Akram Afif is there, looking to cut infield, lifts it out wide to this near touchline towards Homam Ahmed, who's done well, has got the better of Dumfries this time. Now can he deliver a decent ball into the box? He goes to Al Haydos at the edge of the penalty area, dances past a couple of challenges. Maybe the shot's going to come in from Afif this time. No, he waits, measures his cross out wide to this left-hand side. Ahmed is there, level with the edge of the 6-yard box, tries to deliver the ball in, and it's blocked out this time by Timber and goes behind what will be a corner down this left-hand side for Qatar.
Well, Adam, I feel like applauding myself. Really good football by them. You know, they really knocked the ball about. They had the Dutch defence really stretched. Just couldn't come up with the final ball, but you know, the first bit of sustained pressure that they've been able to get.
Remains goalless here, and it remains goalless in the other game in the group between Ecuador and Senegal. That's live on TalkSport 2 right now. So as things stand, it would be Ecuador and the Netherlands that go through. Identical records as well, so we'll then start moving into yellow cards and stuff as the ball's delivered in by Akram Afif, and it comes out again to Al Haydos down this left-hand side. Now, room here to deliver a good cross if he can towards the back post by Afif once more, and Van Dijk has to get up and get the header in. Pedro Miguel was coming in, and Van Dijk is furious as he heads it behind, I think for no one going out and closing Afif down again.
Yeah, I think he is furious, Van Dijk. I think he's more or less saying, we shouldn't be having to defend. We shouldn't be having to defend against Qatar, but they are. And you know, a couple of decent balls put in there. If he doesn't get to that, there is a player behind him that could have caused a real problem for the Dutch.
Pedro Miguel was the one who was coming in, and he scored one goal for Qatar. He would have been on the end of that had Van Dijk not intervened. Here's the corner then, coming across towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It was probably a couple of yards further out, and the shot comes in from Abdelkarim Hassan, but it's well over the top of the crossbar from about 10 yards, and that will be a goal kick for the Dutch away to our left-hand side. We've had 24 minutes here on TalkSport, and it remains the Netherlands 0, Qatar 0.
Look, it's been fairly comfortable up until the last 2 or 3 minutes for Van Gaal, but he'll feel a lot more comfortable when they've got the opening goal in this game, because they need that, don't they, to settle everything down.
And you feel that will be crucial. That may just knock the stuffing out of Qatar, mightn't it?
Absolutely. That's where, you know, the already fragile confidence will be shown. No doubt about it. But at the moment, I think, you know, we've talked about the areas in front of that back 4, back 5, getting players turned on the ball. The Dutch haven't been able to achieve that, Adam. You know, they haven't really. They've got behind the Qatar defence a little bit, but they haven't been able to get, you know, Klaassen and De Jong turned on the ball 20 yards, 30 yards away from the goal.
Here's Van Dijk again, seeing so much of the ball in this opening exchanges of this game in the Al Bayt Stadium, 35 miles north of Doha. That one's clipped through to Depay inside the penalty. Great takedown and spin, and then almost got the ball caught under his feet, but managed to get the shot away that's blocked at the edge of the 6-yard box. And now they'll look to try and counter here, Qatar. And away comes Akram Afif on this left-hand side. He's got runners down in front of him, and he tries to snip it away from Homam Ahmed, but there's too much on it, and it runs away and beyond the touchline, and it'll be a goal kick for the Dutch. But again, just looking dangerous on the break, just after the ball nearly fell nicely for Depay.
Yeah, Afif really should be able to lay that ball in. He shouldn't overhit that ball. It's a great position to play in behind the Dutch defence. But Depay did really well, didn't he? A good ball by Blind. Got it down. And it was a great tackle just to deny him.
Pass on to Gakpo inside the penalty area, and Gakpo scores for the Dutch. 3 in 3 at this World Cup for the young maestro. And if he does go to Manchester United, they're getting themselves some player there. Great finish from the edge of the penalty area. 26 minutes gone, and the Dutch are in front. It's the Netherlands 1, Qatar 0.
Well, this should settle him down. It's a really, really good strike. As soon as it left his boot, you can see the power was there, the precision was there. No chance for the goalkeeper. It really is a wonderful strike. And I said before the game, he's got so many different ways of finishing this guy. This time it's on his right foot, and he really does. He knows exactly what he wants to do, what corner he wants to put it in, and it really is a real clinical finish.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? And he joins the likes of Johan Neeskens, Dennis Bergkamp and Wesley Sneijder as the only Dutch players to score in 3 consecutive World Cup matches. A really nice finish, and you just wonder if that will just break the hearts of this Qatari side, who started so positively in the opening 26 minutes of this game, defended so resolutely, but in the end were undone by a really nice finish, and just a little nice touch and burst of pace there from Cody Gakpo, who scores his 6th international goal in his 12th cap, so already it's a pretty decent strike rate for the youngster, remembering he's only 23 years of age. Didn't actually feature too much in the World Cup qualifying, just the 3 appearances for them. And of course a group that they won ahead of Turkey and Norway in Group G, and only lost to Turkey in the opening game of that spell. Again, there's another little clash of heads, but this time it's Van Dijk who went up with Almoez Ali, but both are fine. Long ball over the top here as Qatar look to try and respond, and Dumfries has to head that from the edge of his own penalty area in a central position, and now trying to get round Ake. This time down the right hand side is Ali, and he does well. He forced it back down that right hand side. He'll keep possession here for Qatar as he finds Modibo into the feet again of Ali, but couldn't quite find him, and forced back inside their own half with Kukai, and he'll have it just short of the centre circle. How can they respond? It's a lovely ball that's picked out, a really good run down the middle by Akram Afif, but he can't gather possession, and Klaassen will just give it away on that right hand side. Now Qatar come again, and the right footed shot is driven in and almost lost that time by the keeper. It was Ismail Mohammed with the effort, but Noppert gathers it, and it remains 1-0 to the Dutch.
Well, you can see Mohammed there, he's got the ball on his right foot, he's steered it towards goal, but never going to be a problem. As if in Noppert, it's never going to be a problem, and that's the difference really, Adam. You see Gakpo get his ball, he's got a lot to do when he receives it, and the finish is just absolute 5-star quality, and Qatar don't have that individual ability.
As you said, Alvin, he almost spilled it though. It's a good job the body was coming down underneath it, went through his hands, but the body just fell on top of it quite fortuitously for Noppert. 29 minutes gone on Talk Sport. It's the Netherlands 1, Qatar 0. It remains goalless in the other group as well. That game, of course, continuing between Ecuador and Senegal, but with a victory here, and it will just about make sure of top spot, you feel, for the Dutch. The goal scoring records and the goal difference very similar to that of Ecuador, but if it stays as it is, it will be the Dutch who go through in first place, Ecuador in second, as things stand in Group A. A reminder, Group B will get sorted later, and we'll start the build-up from 5 o'clock here on Talk Sport. England versus Wales. Jim Proudfoot, Stuart Pearce and Dean Saunders will guide you through that under the watchful eye, of course, of Adrian Durham as well. While over on Talk Sport 2, Iran against the USA, or as the Americans will be calling them, Iran, I suspect. That game obviously kicking off this evening as well, to resolve who finishes top and who finishes second in Group B, and at this moment in time who the Dutch and Ecuador will face. Here's Depay with possession for those in orange down that left hand side. Blint just helping the ball onto Gakpo. Inside he goes to Depay once more. Daley Blint will just come back in field to Duro, and now down this right hand side it's Timber, and they'll just hold possession just outside the centre circle. To the left is Ake, Man City central defender, of course, formerly of Chelsea and Bournemouth, a familiar figure to so many in his time in the Premier League. He's just lost out down that far touchline. Qatar try and work their way forward over halfway, but it's Virgil van Dijk who will arrive and gather up possession for the Dutch, and gives it to De Jong, infield to Duro in the centre circle. Now down this right hand touchline it's Timber. He looks to the far side, or the near side should I say, where Dumfries is waiting, but ignores him and goes to the left, where he finds De Jong. De Jong out wide to Blint, who's level with the edge of the penalty area. Coming short and asking for it is Memphis Depay. Gakpo's inside the penalty area. Dumfries has made the run in there as well, but they'll take their time here. Go back towards halfway with Ake and De Jong and Depay, and this is what you expect from the Dutch. They've got that goal just to open this game up, and now they'll just keep the ball and find the moment to attack, but they've lost possession here, and down this left hand side, midway inside his own half, Imam Ahmed is fouled by Dumfries, and it's a free kick to Qatar.
I mean, this game, for the Netherlands and Louis van Gaal is an opportunity really to hone any little deficiencies that he felt within the first two performances, and certainly also to get as many minutes as he can for Depay. And I've got to say, Adam, that Depay has looked sharp. Ball's been played into him, it's been sticking. He's looked the more likely to get the goal, although Gakpo has got that goal. Depay has been probably the most attack-orientated player in terms of looking like he could open this back line of Qatar up.
Depay still the youngest to score for the Dutch in a World Cup, 2 goals back in 2014. Pedro Miguel is down and complaining that he's been hit in the face. It's going to be a throw-in down the right-hand side for Qatar, because the referee's not having a bar of it. It's a really good finish from Gakpo. We're just watching a replay on one of our monitors, and the keeper maybe could have done a little bit better, couldn't he? He does kind of dive over it, but it's a really good finish.
Yeah, anyway. I think it's a good strike. I'd give the credit to the striker of the ball there, Adam. But he again, the variation of finishes is evident to me. Left foot, right foot, headers. He's got a poaching instinct, but certainly, he's got pressure on him, because he is the main man, isn't he? Depay's not in this team, and that'll be the worry for the Dutch manager. If Depay actually isn't available, where else are your goals going to come from? Gakpo obviously is the obvious route, but you need more than that. I think in a team that is, and he's been saying it this week, a team that is actually gearing itself to try and win the whole competition outright. You need more than 1 or 2 goal scorers. You need 4 and 5.
Well, they've tried the options, haven't they, in the last few games, with Bergwijn playing and Bergus playing as well, and not really delivered much in terms of goals. And you look at their records over the years, and you can tell they've never quite managed to do. Vincent Janssen coming back in. I mean, there's a 28-year-old who made his debut quite some time ago. Hasn't scored for his country since 2017, and he got a run out in one of the 2 opening fixtures as well. So without Depay, they are a little bit short. The cupboard is a tad bare to find someone to play alongside Gakpo, that's for sure. Now a chance down this left-hand side for Qatar. It's Hassan with an early ball into the penalty area, and Van Dijk can clear. And again, Van Dijk is screaming at his midfield to just say who is picking these players up.
Well, I think the approach play has been really pretty good, I think, for Qatar. What they don't have is that poacher, that centre forward who's going to put himself in a position where you can find him. And again, they were outnumbered there. I think it was 1 white shirt and 3 tangerines.
Still goalless between Ecuador and Senegal over on TalkSport 2. They've been playing for similarly about 34 and a half minutes here on TalkSport. It's the Netherlands 1, Qatar 0. Reminder, after that game tonight between England and Wales, and of course Iran against the USA, the Sports Bar is live from the TalkSport fan zone in London. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Quinney will be taking your calls after the live commentary of Wales, England in Group B, and that'll be tonight from 10 o'clock. And well, Jason's had a lot to say about Wales. If they pulled something off tonight, I'm sure there'll be a few looking for a bit of retribution, but that's the Sports Bar live from the fan zone tonight at 10 o'clock here on TalkSport. Here they come again down the right-hand side here. Qatar towards the byline. Mohamed does get the ball across inside the penalty area, and the outstretched boot that time of Hatim, and or maybe in the end it was actually Ali that tried to get on the end of it, but couldn't quite control it. They've kept possession though. It's a little further out than they would like, and it's Afif on that far side who switched from the left to the right now. Now the charge down that far touchline. Ismail Mohamed again against Ake, does well to the edge of the 6-yard box, gets the cross in, and Van Dijk is there once more to clear. And that's not for the first, second or third time in this game. It's the 4th time Van Dijk has had to save for Dutch.
Absolutely, and I think that's where they've been really good, Qatar. They've got down the sides, left and right, and they've delivered into the box. What they haven't done is been able to get any real white shirts in there, to cause Van Dijk a problem.
It is Ahmed at the edge of the penalty area down this left-hand side. He's penalised for the foul on Dumfries. So a good little spell there for Qatar. They trailed by a goal to 0, but we thought they may have wilted after that first goal went in, but far from it, Alvin Martin.
No, that's right. I think it's been a good reaction. You may have forgiven them for actually letting a few heads drop, but no, they've kept going. I think they've been encouraged as well there, because they've got into good areas against the Netherlands, to maybe think, why not? We can get maybe a little bit more support up there in more advanced areas. why not get a goal? I wonder what that would do to the game. One thing is for sure, Van Gaal come into this game expecting a result and a performance. I think he's got the score, they got the goal that he wanted, but he would have expected to maybe be more than one up. Certainly, approaching 37 minutes.
The very wise words of Alvin Martin, the former England centre-half, of course. He was in Mexico 1986 as part of Sir Bobby Robson's World Cup squad. You would have made 82 as well, wouldn't you? But you were injured.
Yeah, no, I broke my collarbone about 6 weeks before, Adam. So yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. If you're a player, you play international football. You're lucky if you do 5, 6, 7 years. So you're lucky if it encompasses 2 World Cups. 1 World Cup sometimes is all that any player gets.
Here's Ake on that left-hand side. Gives it short to Blue, and they try to come forward again. About 7.5 minutes left. Plus time to be added on, of course, at the end of this first half. The Netherlands leading by a 1-0 on TalkSport. Here's Dumfries down the right-hand side. Back to Timber again. They've seen an awful lot of the ball, these centre-halves for the Dutch. Ake, Timber and Van Dijk. And De Jong this time has come deep inside the centre circle to pick up possession. And there is a wall of white shirts lined up in the defensive territory here for Qatar. As I mentioned, a slight shift here with Akram Afif going out to the right hand side, having started the game on the left, and a very small Asim Madibo has been penalised for a foul there on Memphis Depay, who was looking to receive the ball short and just turn it round the corner. Has he got shin pads on there? How to play without shin pads? They must be the tiniest little things.
Yeah, token efforts. But again, he's looked sharp. I think Depay. You can see that they need him. If they're going to progress, they need him fit. They need him up front and available. 13 goals in 35 appearances for Barca last season. A season this year that so far that's been curtailed by injury. There is some talk of maybe Louis wanting to take it. of him potentially going back to Manchester United. Of course, Louis had him there in the first place when he was in charge at Manchester United. But I would have thought if they're picking up Gakpo that Depay may not be the option. But obviously, following the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, they do need a replacement, that's for sure. Here's a chance for Hassan to come forward for Qatar, and again, there's just not enough white shirts following him. There was only 2 forward in that attack, and it was very easy for the Dutch to gather resources and almost put a ring of steel around the edge of their own penalty area and then win the ball back quite comfortably. And that long ball forward is snuffed out at the edge of the box. And now a chance for Hassan Al Haydos to put it wide to Akram Afif again. And Qatar will have a moment of possession on halfway as we head towards the final 5 minutes of the first half. That goal from Gakpo, the one which separates the two sides. We mentioned, of course, that he goes into that elite group to have scored in 3 consecutive World Cup matches. He's actually the first one to score in their first 3 World Cup appearances for the Dutch. De Roon gets that into Gakpo again, who teed it up beautifully. Wonderful bit of control to get himself the shot away. The offside flag did go up, it was over the crossbar anyway. But again, just a moment, De Roon's early ball in, and Gakpo quickest to respond. Well, it was fired in with real venom, wasn't it, from De Roon? He was just off, but again, control with his left, gets the strike away with his right foot on the volley so quickly. Technically that is really difficult what he's just done there. It wouldn't have counted anyway, but you've got to marvel at how quick he got it under control.
He's got the perfect set of World Cup goals so far. Header, right foot, left foot. He's done them all in his first 3, and that was just an example of the two-footed skill that he offers up in controlling. What was that firmly hit pass from De Roon? Being forced backwards here is Hassan by Gakpo again, but he's done well, and it's a clipped ball down this left-hand touchline. Chases on for Afif, but he just gathers the ball up into his arms because he's not going to get there as it spins out of play, and it is a throw-in down the right-hand side for the Dutch. So we get sight of the bench down below for Louis van Gaal, and Edgar Davids is chewing away furiously as they watch on. As Alvin summed it up, they'll be happy with the scoreline, but they won't be happy with the 2 or 3 occasions that Qatar have broken through that defence. But they're going to need to put more men forward if they want to snuff something out of this game, that's for sure.
Well, England have got a massive game, haven't they, tonight? England-Wales. But when you look at the other teams in this World Cup, I don't think the big hitters in the competition will be looking at the Netherlands and fearing them. That is for sure, Adam.
Ball to touch on this near side. It'll be a throw for Qatar, just at the edge of the Qatar technical area. 3 minutes to go in the first half, plus time to be added on here on TalkSport. Remember whatever happens tonight in that game between England and Wales tomorrow morning. TalkSport breakfast with Laura Woods, Ali McCoy, Gabby Agbonlahor, and Dean Saunders is going to be coming in after 9 as well. I wonder what kind of mood he'll be in after 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. But don't forget to join them live from Qatar as they analyse all of the action. And I did hear on our social media earlier today Ali McCoy say if he was forced to choose, he would rather Wales won tonight than England. Wow. Unbelievable. Well, actually, it's quite believable. This is Ali McCoy still talking.
Absolutely.
Would we be that horrible if it was Scotland against Wales?
Well, I don't know about you, but I would.
Down the left-hand side. Qatar on the attack again. Don't forget to wake up with breakfast tomorrow morning from 6 here on TalkSport. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Netherlands leading Qatar by 1-0. There's a bit of an overlap down that right-hand side if they can find the run that's been made by Mohamed, but instead they go back in field, and it's picked up by Afif, who was playing a little bit deeper than usual there. Helped on its way by Ahmed towards Afif once more, and they try and win it down this left-hand touchline again, but they're going to get penalised for the foul that time on Timber as he's fouled, and it will be a free kick for the Netherlands midway inside their own half.
I think the Qatar coach will be happy, be very happy. Sanchez, that with his team's performance in this first half. In fact, I would go so far as to say, Adam, that if they'd have played at this level in the first couple of games, then I think maybe you'd have seen a different scoreline. I think they certainly might have nicked a point somewhere along the line, but I think you'd be happy with the way they've acquitted themselves.
Touch on the attack down the left-hand side with Nathan Ake. Reminder, our build-up starts at 5 o'clock tonight of that game between Wales and England. What will that team permutation be that England come up with? And all, of course, has a bearing on who's going to face who in the round of 16. As we mentioned, of course, if the Dutch are victorious here and finish top of the group, they will play the runners-up in Group B at the Khalifa International Stadium at 3 o'clock UK time on Saturday. Or alternatively, it's here again on Sunday night at 7 o'clock should the Dutch finish as runners-up. Into the last 30 seconds of the first half, plus I suspect plenty of time to be added on here. It's with Noppert inside his own penalty area away to the left-hand side. Van Dijk is there as he has been so much of this game, seen an awful lot of the ball. Klaasen's very deep as he finds Depay, who clips it over the top down the right-hand side. Dumfries is on the chase. He's only got Gakpo inside the middle, but again it's a good intervention that time by Buelem Kuki, and it's out of play on this near side for a throw down the right-hand side. And now to find out, we can have 3 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. And actively encouraging his side is Felix Sanchez at the edge of his technical area on this near touchline. We're into those 3 minutes. It's a throw taken short by the Dutch back towards halfway, and it's controlled by Timber and then to Van Dijk. Ake again inside the centre circle. He's got Blind out to his left-hand side, which would be the obvious ball and option right-footed, which he goes for. Blind will just take his time and just come back infield once more and not go too quickly. 32 years of age right now, of course. 7 World Cup appearances early on in his career for Daley Blind. Here's Van Dijk. That was back in 2014, of course, when they came third in Brazil, the Dutch. And now a chance maybe for Gakpo after a little layoff from Depay. De Jong out wide to the left-hand side. Blind off the angle of the penalty area. Drops it infield short once more to Gakpo. And now to Ake. And Ake down the left will look to come forward again towards the edge of the penalty area. Oh, it's a stab layoff for Depay. Wasn't the best though. And Qatar will try and break. And it's with Modibo in midfield. And he'll just give it short to Hassan. And Hassan will chip a ball down this near touchline where Afif will chase after it. But again, he's been very poor. Afif, the control's not good. I mean, he scored just 1 goal and managed 10 assists in the Asian Cup, which is a record. But some of the quality of his play in this first 45 minutes has been far from.
Well, he's certainly got energy and he's got pace, control, technique. You know, he reminds me a little bit of Salah in terms of the way he looks, and he certainly can run. But Salah's got a lot more ability, I think, Adam.
Well, we're into the last 60 seconds of added time, and it's with Ake to the left-hand side. The Netherlands leading Qatar by 1-0. At half-time, we'll round up what's happened in the closing stages of the first half of the game between Ecuador and Senegal. There's been drama at the end of the opening 45 minutes, I can promise you that. In fact, they're into 6 minutes of added time at the end of that first half. We'll bring you those details shortly. That's when we've reached the half-time whistle here, which should be in about the next 30 seconds or so. The Dutch have possession here on TalkSport as they come forward down the right-hand side towards De Jong in midfield, and there's Depay, just gives possession away 2 or 3 times in the last few minutes. It's been sloppy balls from Depay. Maybe he's just lacking that bit of match fitness. Came on at half-time, of course, in the game against Ecuador. Klassen's done well. Depay with the shot from 22 yards, and it's well wide of Barsham's goal away to our right-hand side.
Yeah, I think you're right. In the last sort of 5 minutes, just at the end of this half, he's been sloppy, Depay, with 2 or 3 times. And I've got to say, I thought he looked sharp prior to that. And there might be a bit of rustiness there.
Depay's shot is the final action of the first half then in the Al Bayt Stadium, and it's a half that the Dutch will be very happy with. Cody Gakpo's goal after 26 minutes separates the sides. The third of the World Cup for him to move him joint top in the race for the Golden Boot. But as things stand, everything's A-OK for the Netherlands, and Dutch delight is on the way as they look to make their way into the last 16 in the competition. Half-time, Netherlands 1, Qatar 0. Thank you, Dan. They do know how to do a light show in Qatar. That's for sure. The half-time entertainment as good as the pre-match entertainment as well. The two teams are out and they look completely unchanged for the start of the second half here. 45 minutes then for the Dutch to continue in the vein that they showed in the opening 45 minutes and see this game out and then finish top of the group, which of course would mean the Group A winner will take on the runner-up in Group B, and Group B will be decided, of course, later on this evening, live here on TalkSport with Wales against England, and on TalkSport 2, Iran against the USA. It's going to be Qatar to get us underway all in white at the start of this second half. No changes for either side then. Our referee, Bakary Gassama, is just waiting for the nod from the touchline down below that we are ready to start this second period, and still plenty of empty seats around the Al Bayt Stadium ahead of kick-off in this one. A reminder, the way things stand, the Dutch top the table, Senegal in second place right now as they lead Ecuador as things stand. We are off and running, and it's going to be Qatar kicking from left to right in this second 45 minutes, and immediately Akram Afif with possession down that left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area. Little tug there as he was chasing after the ball from Virgil van Dijk, I think, and it's going to be a free kick on that far touchline for the host nation.
But it's a silly free kick to give away in a dangerous area, and that's allowed Qatar to be able to deliver from wide very early in the second half, and I'm sure Louis van Gaal won't be impressed with that defender.
Well, let's see if they commit a few bodies forward. There's only 5 white shirts inside the penalty area. The foul was actually committed by Dumfries, but this is about to be delivered from out wide on this left-hand side near the touchline. Right-footed ball swung towards the back post. Ake has to get up and win that header, which he does. It will be a throw down this right side now, level with the penalty spot for Qatar. It was a decent delivery that time, but again, I mean, it's almost a 2-to-1 outnumbering of orange shirts to white shirts inside the penalty area.
That's right. I think the only way they're going to score is by committing more bodies forward. I know it's easy for me to say. They certainly won't want to concede a second. I think if they were to lose this game 1-0, then Adam, it would be some sort of a step forward for them when you compare it to the first 2 performances.
Yeah, not got much to lose at this point though, have Qatar. Maybe the home support could be sent away with a smile on their face if they did throw a few more bodies forward. Here's Van Dijk. I think it's interesting what you say though, because actually playing at this tempo with them not committing is maybe making life more difficult for the Dutch to find a good rhythm. And they have possession with Ake.
But again, the top teams they find ways, don't they? They find ways of dismantling. But look, they're 1-0 up, but I can't remember too many times when they've really opened up this defence, and that'd be the worrying thing for the Dutch.
Depay to Gakpo. They tried to play a nice 1-2 at the edge of the penalty area, but it's snuffed out on the edge of the box that time by Miguel, and picked up by Hatem. Plenty of room to run into through the centre circle here, and a chance now to drive forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Out wide on the right hand side is Ismail Mohammed. Delays the cross, didn't go early, had a couple of touches, and he was trying to find Almoez Ali inside the penalty area. Gets it back though, down this right hand side is Mohammed, and goes back inside his own half to the edge of the centre circle where Kuki is waiting. Chips the ball over the top, does Kuki to Afif to chase towards the corner flag, and that's going to run out of play for a goal kick to the Dutch.
Well, at least then, Adam, they had bodies in there. They had committed people forward. Mohammed got the ball on the right hand side. They'd really worked that ball terrifically to get him onto the edge of the box. Maybe he should have maybe cut inside, but there were 3 shirts in there, all awaiting a decent quality cross, which didn't come.
3 minutes gone in the second half on TalkSport. Netherlands 1, Qatar 0. Noppert in goal. It's Timber, Van Dijk and Ake at the back for the Dutch. Dumfries and Blind, the 2 wing backs, with De Roon and De Jong in midfield, with Klaassen playing in that 10 role behind Gakpo and Depay. That's how the Dutch are lining up at the start of this second half. Barsham is in goal for Qatar. Mohamed, Miguel, Kuki, Hassan and Ahmed across the back, with Hatem, Madibo and Al Haydos in midfield, with Ali and Afif the front 2 for Qatar. Good work by Frankie de Jong, 25 yards out from goal. Evades a challenge and finds Klaassen. Out wide to the right hand side is Dumfries, who's on the run. He's just stagnating his run and waits for a moment. Then he gives to Klaassen, who does deliver. Comes to Depay at the back post. Point blank save by the keeper, but put in by de Jong. And the Dutch have doubled their advantage. It's double Dutch delight for the Netherlands. 4 minutes into the second half. Depay's effort, a wonderful save from Barsham, but he couldn't deny Frankie de Jong, who arrived to score his second international goal. The last was back in 2019, but he couldn't miss from a yard out, and surely that's enough to see the Dutch through to the round of 16. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0.
Well, Depay does really well. It's not an easy one to take this, but I think more than anything, he had more desire to get onto that ball than any defender within that penalty area. It's a ball that was flicked on at the near post. He's had one touch with his left knee. It comes up, he volleys it. Keeper gets unlucky, as you said, Barsham. Really unlucky, but the ball bounces favourably down for the Dutch rather than Qatar. And it's de Jong really who gets in front of Pedro. I don't know what he was doing. He just sort of paused. He lost his bearings. The defenders should do a lot better there. It has to be said, Adam. But de Jong has wanted it a little bit more. He wanted too much time in the 6-yard box. You don't get that in the World Cup.
Well, Pedro Miguel and Buelem Kuki probably had 2 yards on Frankie de Jong inside the 6-yard box, but neither quick enough to respond after the save from Barsham. And de Jong won't get an easier goal. 48th cap for his country, second international goal for the former Ajax man, of course, still at Barcelona, although be surprised if he is there certainly come the start of next season, but we shall see. He's not had a bad season with him so far this campaign, but they've got that breathing space now, and maybe this is a chance now for the Dutch to, well, we talked about it at the start of the game, win handsomely, and regardless of what happens between Ecuador and Senegal, that would probably see them through as group winners.
Absolutely. I just wonder if you start making changes now and resting people. De Jong, certainly Depay. How long do you give him? I would have thought you maybe give him 60 minutes. So maybe another 10 minutes and look at maybe taking him off. Gakpo again, a player that you want to protect. So well, Louis van Gaal really now from this moment on can do what he wants.
Feels like a very condensed World Cup, of course, with these 4 games a day that have been taking place in the build-up. Ake's going to get a yellow card here.
Why? He's jumped for a ball. What is the referee thinking of? This referee has made 3 or 4 decisions during the game. I just don't get it.
He's gone into the shoulder of Ismail Mohammed, but he's just jumping.
It's just how many times do you see 2 people jump for a ball like that in every football game?
If that's a yellow card, we're going to see an awful amount of yellow cards.
He has made contact with his elbow, but that's not intentional at all. It's a referee who hasn't got he certainly hasn't got an experience of playing the game if he thinks that is.
Nathan Ake goes into the book, of course. Yellow cards are rubbed out after the round of 16. Of course, if anyone carries yellow cards forward from the group stages with the potential of suspensions. 7 minutes gone in the second half here on Talk Sport. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. Over on Talk Sport 2, they're about 3 minutes behind us there. Senegal still leading Ecuador by a goal to 0. If you want to listen to that game to find out the other, or follow the other match in this group, of course, then you can get Talk Sport 2 via your smart speaker potentially, or via the app, of course. All you need to do is swipe between the action if you download the app, and that might come in handy this coming weekend as well for you, whatever you're up to on Saturday night, because we have live and exclusive radio commentary of Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora, the trilogy for that WBC World Heavyweight title. Our expert team, of course, led by Adam Catterall and Gareth A. Davis, will be bringing you the coverage from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And you can listen to that on Saturday night, of course. We'll bring you all the action, as well as our continuing wall-to-wall coverage of this World Cup in Qatar 2022. Down the left-hand side, Blint gets a ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, easily blocked out by the back line involving Abdelkarim Hassan at the edge of the penalty area. And Van Dijk has it on halfway. David Klassen with that shaven head comes short, finds Ake down this left-hand side. Now, an opportunity for Gakpo to come in from this near touchline. He squeezes between two, gives it to De Jong, back to Blint. Crossfield it goes again to Barreau. In the centre circle is Virgil van Dijk, and it's a patient build-up from the Dutch.
He was looking at Gakpo there, is another wonderful goal he scored tonight. But he's big, isn't he, Adam? He's got to be 6'2", 6'3", and usually, somebody that tall, he's got such a way of getting his feet sorted out. He's tremendous technique, really, for somebody so tall.
There's very little flaw you can find in his game right now, that's for sure, and probably explains the amount of interest that he's currently attracting with Manchester United and Eric Ten Hag, the favourites to gather his signature. He was talking in the press conference on the subject, and he's just focused on the World Cup, although as ever he said he's flattered by the interest coming from clubs elsewhere. Just trying to spin on the ball there was Asim Madibo, loses possession, but it's picked up again this time by Hassan Al-Haydos, and away down the left hand side is Akram Afif this time. Now he gets towards the byline, looks up at the options available to him, nothing in the penalty area, instead goes back to Hammam Ahmed, who then feeds it across towards the edge of the penalty area for the left-footed ball that's driven in this time by Hassan, but blocked away for the Dutch. Forward though comes Kuki into the feet of Afif, just holding off the attentions of Timber, and in the end the referee says, we'll give the free kick, why not? Qatar take it short this time, and they have possession down this right-hand side with Mohamed, who's looked to get forward time and time again. They are playing as a back five, but there's no doubt that he on this right-hand side has looked to get forward at every given opportunity. 10 minutes into the second half, they trail by 2 goals to 0, and if they were playing for pride at the start, there's even more pride up for grabs now, surely to try and breach this Dutch defence and give us a grandstand finale in the Al Bayt Stadium. Here's Mohamed again, going infield, but once more the ball is backwards for Qatar because the options forward are fairly limited. Wide on the left-hand side is Afif, who again has gone deep to try and pick up possession. Gathered by Hassan down the far touchline. Hassan trying to play the little 1-2, and Ali then skips the ball through to Hassan, but there's nobody inside the penalty area. As he gets to the byline, he drills it across the 6-yard box, and there's one white shirt that has just arrived at that point. Is it any? And he just holds his arms out and says, "What do you want me to do?"
Well, the Qatar coach Felix Sanchez, it must be so frustrating when you're coaching a team because you haven't got a recognised centre forward, and without a recognised centre forward in your team, how on earth do you build up your play? How on earth do you get shots at goal? It's incredibly difficult, and I would suggest that maybe Qatar have to find that they've got to scour the whole of Qatar, and if it takes 5 years, try and find a centre forward who's somebody that can hold the ball up, that has got an eye for a goal, because otherwise it's impossible to play at this level.
Well, Omar Ali, he has 41 goals in his 95 international caps, which by any means for an international record is pretty decent. He got 9 goals during the Asia Cup, and prior to the World Cup it was 3 in 5 international appearances, but he's never in the penalty area.
That's why I can't figure out that maybe it is just the fact that they've had 2 big defeats, the home nation, lots of pressure on them, and from that point of view, they've lost their way. Because I can't believe that they've actually played this way. I mean, they won the Asian Cup, didn't they, in 2019? So they must have had, an attacking dimension to the game, which we haven't been able to see tonight.
As you said to me earlier, they probably peaked a little bit too early, didn't they?
3 years too early.
3 years too soon. They did take part in the Gold Cup in 2021 and did quite well in that as well. They've been desperately trying to get tournament football to ready them because, of course, this is their first ever appearance at a World Cup. Hosts have won the tournament 6 times. That was always going to be a bit of an arse, but to become the first to lose your first 3 games and your qualifying games is a record they will not want. That is for sure. Here is Ali towards the edge of the penalty area. Can't get there. Possession picked up by Al Haydos on that far side, and it'll be a throw into Qatar midway inside their own half. Their only goal scorer, of course, at this tournament so far, not even on the pitch, Mohamed Muntadi, who scored last time round. And there was I was going to say that was given as a penalty here. We just saw a replay of a player sliding to the floor and putting his arm down. That won you a penalty against Uruguay yesterday for Portugal. On this occasion, not even a foul from the referee, and quite rightly so. Midway inside their own half, Qatar have possession. 58 minutes on the clock on TalkSport. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. Over on TalkSport 2, it's Ecuador 0, Senegal 1. Ismaila Sarr with a penalty a minute before half-time, which puts Senegal in pole position for second spot in Group A and qualification for the round of 16. Which, after that opening defeat to the Dutch by 2-0, you may have thought was not possible, because they weren't at their best that day, that's for sure. Here's Klassen down the right-hand side at the edge of the penalty area, tries to help it onto Dumfries, but it's going to come clear at the edge of the box to Daley Blind, who just has a little more desire to win that ball back than Kuki at the edge of the penalty area. In fact, I'm doing Kuki a disservice. It was Al Haydos who didn't seem too troubled. Not the most caps of any for Qatar, but on that occasion, a little bit of running from Daley Blind seemed to be enough to win possession of the ball. Here's Klassen out wide to the right-hand side, where Timber is there. Forward by De Jong, held up that time by Dumfries, and the referee waves away the protest for a foul on Frankie De Jong, and forward will come Qatar into the centre circle with Al Haydos. Wide on the right-hand side, in some spaces, Ismail Mohammed. Now they've got some runners arriving, and it's Afif out wide on the right-hand side. Pedro Miguel swings it towards the back post, and this time there are 4 white shirts, but the quality of the ball in wasn't the best. I think we've got a problem for Almoez Ali, who's gone down at the edge of the 6-yard box. The referee not interested. I'm assuming he's claiming he's been caught in the face by somebody, which VAR would pick up if that was the case, but Qatar have put the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in on that far side.
Well, that's another play going down with a limited, very, very little resistance. And really, the ball was in an area where it could have been re-delivered in. And if Ali gets up there, he's in a position where he might be able to get himself a goal.
Well, we've just seen a replay of it. I mean, there was literally nothing in it. Nothing at all.
Terrible.
For him to fall to the ground. Reminder, once we're done today, from 5 o'clock, all the build-up for England against Wales. Adrian Durham in the chair, of course, as ever. Jim Proudfoot, the former England defender Stuart Pearson, the former Wales striker Dean Saunders will be the commentary team for that one. Iran against the USA with Mark Wilson. The former Scotland striker Chris Ewelamu will be on TalkSport 2 later this evening as well, as we guide you through the final games in Group B. What do you do when England and Wales are playing? You find a Scotsman as your co-commentator. That's clearly the answer on that one. And of course tomorrow we've got Group D and Group C coming to a close. Tunisia against France, Australia against Denmark, Poland against Argentina, and Saudi Arabia against Mexico tomorrow evening. I mean, those 2 games, can Argentina pull this one out the mire? And can Saudi Arabia squeak their way through as well? It'll be an enthralling conclusion to both of those groups tomorrow, because France obviously are already through in Group D, but Australia, Denmark, Tunisia fighting hard, of course, to try and get that place as well in the last 16 of the competition. Just past the hour mark here on TalkSport right now. It's Netherlands 2, Qatar 0, and Qatar now just looking a tad more adventurous. I think we're going to see the first change of the game coming from them shortly. Goals, of course, from Gakpo in the first half and De Jong in the second half are what separate the 2 sides right now. And again, the referee just stopping play for a moment as we have another injury. This time Al Haydos is the player who'd gone down, the captain. He's up and about, and here come a couple of changes then for Qatar. I think we're going to see Mohamed Mentari, the man who scored the only goal of the competition for Qatar so far. He's coming on, and Karim Boudiaf, who was left out the starting 11 today from the side that lost last time out against Senegal. They're both going to enter the fray shortly, but the Dutch have possession. And Klassen is caught just dawdling on the ball inside the centre circle. Afif gives it to Madibo, now down the left hand side, but at this point Afif's not making a run towards the box at all. Ali's coming, but he's just strolling into the penalty area, and it's gathered comfortably by Noppert at the edge of his box.
Look, I think they've done some decent stuff tonight, Qatar, in different areas of the pitch, but the one area where you think, well, why not, when you do get limited opportunity, put it into the box, bust the gut to get in there, do everything you can to get on the end of it, because all the hard work you've done further back down the pitch is worthless unless you do that.
You talked earlier when I mentioned 1982 and you missing out on the World Cup. I mean, these players probably are never going to get a chance again that maybe is a little bit harsh. Who knows what might happen in the next 4 years, but they may not ever get a chance to appear in a World Cup again. And I would sit there now and feel that they're almost not giving it that 120%. Leave everything on that field.
Right. And you're out. You're out. This is going to be your last game.
There's a couple of changes coming then for Qatar. One of them is going to be the captain who's going off. We've seen him have a few problems in the last couple of minutes. Hassan Al-Haydos will depart. In fact, they're going to make 3 changes. We're also going to see Almoez Ali and Asim Madibo going to leave us as well. So it's a triple change all round here. Karim Boudiaf, Mohamed Mentari and Ali Assad are the players coming on for Qatar. Maybe we'll just see a slight change in fortune then, with 3 fresh pairs of legs as we enter the last 26 minutes of the game here on Talk Sport. A reminder, our waterwall coverage of the World Cup continues with analysis as well, first thing tomorrow morning on Talk Sport Breakfast, with Laura Woods and Ali McCoist and Gabby Bonlahor joining them tomorrow morning. If you've not seen Gabby on his camel ride, believe me, it's well worth checking out on our socials. And also Dean Saunders will be part of the team after 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, picking over the bones of what's going to happen later tonight. The tension is rising. How are your nerves? As I mentioned earlier, we are merely the starter today here on TalkSport for that main course coming up. 5 o'clock our build-up starts. Here's Depay, edge of the penalty area. Does well. Looks to try and cut through 2, but is dispossessed, and now an opportunity to come forward for Ahmed on that far side, but he gets no further than midway inside his own half before he's closed down, and he gives the ball back to Abdel Karim Hassan, who launches it forward, and it's nodded into touch by Timber. A couple of changes for the Dutch on the way as well here, and we're going to see the introduction of Vincent Janssen and also Steven Berghuis as well, and it's going to be David Klassen who's departing, one of the changes, and we're also going to see Memphis Depay. So you called it, Alan, about an hour. He's had 65 minutes.
Yeah, I was surprised he was still on, 5 minutes more than I expected it to be. But look, he's certainly got an hour under his belt. Had a run around. He's showed that he's got decent touches. Played a part for the Dutch side tonight. Very important to going forward for Van Gaal. High five as he comes off.
Yeah, it will help his fitness, that's for sure, because if they are going to advance in this competition, although Gakpo is in such terrific form, you do feel that they will need that quality of Memphis Depay when it comes down to those key moments. Approaching the midway point of the second half. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. Still 1-0 to Senegal in the game between them and Ecuador. That's over on TalkSport 2. It means the Dutch will win the group, Senegal will come second. Ecuador and Qatar, of course, are already out, will be on their way home.
So if England win later on, they will play Senegal.
They will, as things stand. And that game will take place on Sunday night, if my maths are correct, at the Al Bayt Stadium right here, 7 o'clock. There's a lovely bunch of tulips in someone's hair there. There's very good fancy dress outfits as ever from the Dutch. Plenty of orange on show around the stadium. atmosphere's just picked up a little bit here. Left-footed ball from Blint. He's forward trying to find the run that's been made by Janssen towards the edge of the penalty area, but gathered up comfortably by Michel Darchau. Gakpo's come out into a slightly wider position here at this moment in time, down this left-hand touchline, following those changes from the Dutch as well. Qatari's just looking to get forward a little more. You think, oh, Janssen, is he onside here? Inside the penalty area, squares it to Burgos, who will finish. There's no offside flag, and the Dutch have a third, and it's the two substitutes that combine. And with 22 minutes remaining here, that surely wraps it up for the Netherlands. They lead by 3 goals to 0.
A gaping hole down the centre of the defence there for Qatar, and they walked it into the net, didn't they? You know, it just went through. I thought there might have been a hint of offside. That will certainly have been checked, but it looks like the goal's going to stand. Very sloppy in the middle of the park. They just switched off and then paid the price.
Well, they certainly did. It was the initial ball towards Janssen. I think there was some discussion that maybe Gakpo had used his hands in the build-up, and the VAR is checking the possible handball, and the referee is coming over to the sideline to have a look. Bakary Gassama. I think we all know what tends to happen next. Certainly there is the use of the right arm.
Absolutely.
By Cody Gakpo in the build-up, so you can expect this one to be ruled out.
Yep. For once, a negative contribution by Gakpo.
It was on this occasion. I think that's what was being remonstrated by the Qataris, that there was a use of a handball. 3 of them immediately are trying to pull him up for that challenge. It certainly catches around the elbow on his arm on the inside, but the referee surely is not delaying this one. He's taking his time looking at it before making the final decision.
I think it's Albany showcase, isn't it? Albany showcase.
Well, I would say so, but and he does. Goal doesn't stand for handball. Took his time about it, and it remains Netherlands 2, Qatar 0, with 21 minutes remaining here on TalkSport.
Don't think it's going to affect the game too much, one way or the other.
Well, it may drive them on. You never know. The crowd getting very excited for a few moments. Disappointing for the Dutch, of course. Further ahead they go. The door of a mountain. Should Ecuador get back in the game against Senegal, will it be for them to climb to take over the top spot in the group? Dutch full possession midway inside their own half with Virgil van Dijk. I mean, everyone says that they're obviously probably the best side to have never won the World Cup. Runners up on 3 occasions, of course, and the heyday of the brilliance, the Cruyff time, of course. You just feel over time unlucky would be the word. I remember the final back in 2010 against Spain. I mean, Spain back then were the real class side, weren't they? And the Dutch just never quite got to grips with them in the final. Unfortunate to have never picked up the trophy. Runners up 3 times. 3rd place back in Brazil, of course, in 2014 as well. And here's the clearance coming from the edge of his penalty area by Michel Darchau, headed by Blint on this near side. Ake wins it. Cannons away quite nicely here for Mohamed, who's been impressive down this right hand side for Qatar. Now forward comes Ali Assad out wide to that left hand side, where it's picked up this time by Afif. Back into Ali Assad again, and Qatar, through some good hounding and pressing from the Dutch, are forced all the way back to the edge of their own penalty area. And Michel Darchau has made a couple of good saves in the game today. Gets it forward towards Mohamed down the right, closed down by Blint, and then infield to the man who's now wearing the armband for Qatar, Abdulaziz Hatem, in central midfield inside the centre circle. He's going to go down the left-hand touchline this time. Just wants a couple of options opened up to him, but Timber in the end will cut that one off. Poke it forward for the Netherlands over halfway, but the interception is good from Qatar, and it's gathered in the middle of the park by Muntari. And again they'll go all the way back towards the edge of our own penalty area. And now down this left hand side, here come Qatar again, and it's held on this near side. Now we mentioned there's another game, of course, going on at the same time as this one in Group A, and that's the game between Ecuador and Senegal. At half-time, Senegal led by a goal to nil. There's been a second goal. The commentary comes from Kevin Hatcher.
Here's the corner, and they were queuing up, and it's put in from close range. Moises Caicedo latches onto the flick on, and Ecuador grab a lifeline.
Well, it's just got interesting again in Group A as far as Ecuador are concerned. Of course, one apiece now. So as things stand, it will be Ecuador that go through second in the group, and if England are group winners, it will be Ecuador that they face. I'll keep you across that game. Still another 20 minutes or so to go. It's live right now on TalkSport 2 if you want to listen via the app. Here's Gakpo down the left-hand side. Lovely spin and turn, and then tries to play the ball inside the penalty area, but Buralem Kuki is there, and he blocks it out for a corner down this left-hand side for the Dutch, which is taken short as far as Frankie de Jong. Infield again to Virgil van Dijk. Plenty of orange shirts inside the penalty area, including Ake. It's helped on its way to Dumfries down the right hand side, gets it across towards the near post, and it's just turned behind for another corner to the Netherlands down that right hand side. It'll be their third or fourth corner of the game, and it just comes off the chest that time of Abdelkarim Hassan, and had Barsham stretching at his near post just to get a hand on it as well to ensure that it did go behind for this Dutch corner, which is taken quickly inside the penalty area, and it's away to Hassan again, who nods it clear. Timber on halfway for the Dutch to blink down this left hand side. So a reminder, as things stand, Ecuador going through second in the group. The Dutch, with this 2-0 victory, will finish top of the table, unbeaten, 7 points of course, just conceding the one goal so far. Dumfries down the right hand side, taken short back from Janssen. Here's Blind again, just plenty of time to keep the ball, no real pressure coming from this Qatar side at the moment. Here's Nathan Ake, 10 yards over halfway, left hand side, Blind in towards the edge of the penalty area. Janssen picks it up, tries to turn it around the corner, but is dispossessed again by Buralem Kuki, and Qatar will try and break down this near touchline. Mohamed Muntari has it. There's been another goal in the game elsewhere in Group A between Ecuador and Senegal. Let's join Kevin Hatchard again.
Only half cleared, and put in! Kalidou Koulibaly! The captain leads by example! And Senegal come up with the perfect response!
Well, indeed, the perfect response. Moments after Ecuador got level, Senegal back in pole position to finish second in the group. They've got about, 19 minutes plus stoppage time remaining in that game. We've got 15 minutes left here. Netherlands leading on TalkSport by 2-0. It's Ecuador 1, Senegal 2 over on TalkSport 2 right now. Well, we said there'd be twists and turns this afternoon, all coming in that game as things stand. And obviously it leads us into what drama we might get later tonight with England against Wales live on TalkSport, and Iran against the USA live on TalkSport 2 as our wall-to-wall coverage of the World Cup continues throughout the day here on TalkSport. So as things stand now, Netherlands on 7 points, Senegal on 6, Ecuador on 4 is how the group will finish. Long ball clipped over the top towards the edge of the penalty area. Gakpo's there, gets the header inside the box, but it's gathered comfortably by Michel Barsham.
Well, Netherlands 2, Qatar 0, 75 minutes gone. Scoreline, I suppose, is about what we expected. I said before the game that he'd be expecting a result, definitely Louis van Gaal, but also performance. I'm still not sure about the performance, Adam. I think it's been okay, hasn't been terrible. But bearing in mind the opposition, I think they would have expected to create a lot more chances. Certainly the keeper to have been a lot busier. So unconvincing, I'd say, for the Netherlands.
Hatem tries the shot from outside the edge of the penalty area, comfortably gathered by Andres Nopper. No real power on the effort that time from Hatem. 109th cap for him today, 11 goals so far. A man born in Doha, and just for a moment I think his eyes lit up with the opportunity to deliver a huge goal for Qatar in this World Cup. Only their second, of course, of the competition, but it wasn't to be, and the Dutch still lead by 2-0. 13 and a half minutes remaining. I think we just would like to see a little more from the white shirts of the host nation. Didn't manage a shot on target against Ecuador. First host since the USA back in 1994 to manage that particular feat. At this moment in time, going to take a whole host of unwanted records with them away from their hosting of this World Cup. We mentioned at the start today, no host has ever lost all 3 games in their group. This could be the first for Qatar this time round as the Dutch go probing for that third goal. De Jong, Dorone in the middle of the park, the man from Atalanta, of course, formerly of Middlesbrough. Feels so often like a weak link in this Dutch side as they search to find that holding midfielder who can just anchor things down in the middle of the park. It was a role, of course, at times that Jamie Pinter's played in the past. He's now in that wing-back role down this left-hand side. Third spell in charge, of course, for Louis. The Dutch appointed in August 2021 for the start of that third spell. He took them to third place in 2014. Second spell started back in 2012, and of course first time round it was 2000 to 2001, but he left when he didn't get them into the 2002 World Cup as well. Such success in between that time, of course, wherever he's gone, really. Wonderful coach, out of retirement for this one as well, in his 70s now. How many more years he'll carry on for. 12 minutes remaining. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. It's Ecuador 1, Senegal 2 in the other game. The Dutch will top the group, and it's all down to what happens in Group B as to who plays where and when. It'll be Saturday afternoon or Sunday evening for England, depending on where they finish in the group. And as things stand, it will be against the Dutch or against Senegal. Towards the edge of the penalty area, Gakpo does really well, just trying to play a neat little 1-2, but now Qatar will come clear down this right-hand side, and it's Mohamed again who's striding away. Ismail Mohamed trying to get the better of Ake, who's already been booked in this game, of course, so he's hesitant to make a challenge, and Mohamed then has no support and ends up going back inside his own half.
Yeah, that's right. Every now and again you think something's going to happen, but when it gets to the final third, that's where they're obviously lacking big time, Qatar. But going back to the Dutch and their chance here.
They are in down the left-hand side this time, across the 6-yard box, and it's blocked out at the near post by Noppert. Did really well, as I think Miguel had got forward that time down that left-hand side. Maybe it actually may have been Ahmed who delivered the ball in, but I mean there was still only one body in the box, but this time they just couldn't get it beyond the keeper.
To be fair, he hasn't had too much to do, but he did come out and claim that it was a moment really he had to rush out. Otherwise, I think it was for once a shirt in there. Only might have been one, but it was certainly one that made himself available. So the keeper had to do what he did. Otherwise, he could have seen a goal.
Qatar with possession inside the centre circle. 10 minutes remaining on TalkSport. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. And it's the host nation with possession. Karim Boudiaf. A challenge there on Akram Afif was a little bit naughty and late, but there's 5 forward here now for Qatar inside the penalty area. Trying to work it on that left-hand side is Hamam Ahmed, and gets it back to Afif again, who's now up and about after that challenge. Here's Hassan. 15 yards inside the Dutch half, out wide to the far touchline, where it's picked up by Akram Afif. Now working it onto his right foot. There's runs being made inside the penalty area, but instead he goes short to Karim Boudiaf. And now an opportunity for Hatem to switch it to the right-hand side where Mohamed's in space. Instead he leaves that for Afif to do, and he finds Mohamed on this near touchline. Pink closes him down immediately, then tries to go inside to the feet of Hatem. Wide again on the left for Hassan. Best spell of keeping the ball that we've seen actually from Qatar in this game, but not able to break down the Dutch lines of resistance so far. 8.5 minutes to go. Here now comes Hatem again. Just slips the ball through the middle. Oh, that's run quite nicely towards the edge of the penalty area. Trying to chase his way through his Montari. And then in the box, down goes Van Dijk, and that'll be a free kick. As finally they put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what the cheers are for. But the foul was already given.
A little scrappy here, certainly was a foul. But it just shows you what you can do with aggression though. A bit more aggression in the final third. Who knows what could happen. Van Dijk is the one that's actually clearing up, and then he gets injured for it as well.
Well, I think Montari's taken out Blint and Van Dijk all in one foul swoop there. It was a fairly decent effort to take the two of them, that's for sure. And Virgil van Dijk is up and about. Weghorst has come on, an additional change for the Dutch. In fact, they're making a couple here. Godon and Gakpo are the two players to go off. Koopmeiners and Weghorst are the players to come on for the final 8 minutes here for the Dutch, as they look to see out this game, leading by 2-0, and at the moment qualifying top of the table, with Senegal coming second. A reminder, England-Wales tonight here on TalkSport, not to be missed, and also afterwards taking your calls. Of course, the sports bar will be live in the fan zone. That's tonight as well in London. Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy will want your reaction following the commentary on England-Wales. That's all from 10 o'clock tonight, powered by fans, of course. TalkSport, you can have your say after the final whistle tonight. The Dutch have possession, 7 minutes to go. 2-0 they lead down that right-hand side.
They've had lots of possession as well, Adam, and it's tonight, but it's been easy possession, relaxed possession, passing it around the back as they are at the moment. Van Dijk, it's been very easy, but as soon as they get the ball in the congested areas, just outside the edge of the box, they've been unconvincing. There hasn't been, I know you're going to lose it now and again, but there hasn't been many times when they've been really silky smooth, fluent in terms of keeping the ball in the tight areas. They've done it easy enough when they've all got time, but average teams can do that. I judge the teams that can do it in the final third consistently as the best teams, and Holland haven't showed me that tonight.
Dumfries on that far side, left for the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to find Janssen, who was waiting. And the tall figure of Weghorst, of course, who didn't have the best of times at Burnley, now away on loan at Besiktas. Only scored 2 goals for Burnley as they were relegated from the Premier League last season. That's taken down at the edge of the penalty area, flags immediately up for an offside, and that will be a free kick for Qatar. 2-0 here to the Dutch. We're about to see another change coming, the introduction of Moussa Kadir, who's yet to be seen at this World Cup for Qatar. And we're also going to see Ahmed Ali Eldin as well. Both are making their first appearances in the tournament. One's going to replace Abdulaziz Hatem, who will depart down below, and the other change is Ismail Mohammed, who for me actually, Alvin, has been one of the better players for Qatar down this right-hand touchline, has constantly looked to be a threat going forward.
Yeah, I think both of the wing-backs have really bolted on. It must be so frustrating though, when you put a lot of effort to get around the final third, and you get your head up, you can't see a teammate anywhere near. It's been a facet of the game all night.
Akram Afif pushing it out wide to this right-hand side, and here is one of the substitutes, Moussa Kadir, 29 years of age. Kadir, 32nd cap for him today, as that's gone down that right-hand touchline by the corner flag. Quite kept in though by Kadir on this occasion. Runs out of play. There's 8 minutes left in the game between Ecuador and Senegal, and it's still Ecuador 1, Senegal 2 as things stand. Another change for the Dutch. Frankie de Jong is going to depart. Kenneth Taylor coming on for his third cap for the 20-year-old from Ajax. Came from the youth setup there. 9 under-21 caps for the Dutch, and made his debut against Poland, but he'll replace Frankie de Jong, who scored the second goal for the Dutch early on in the second half today. Away from the football, of course, at the weekend we'll be getting into the business end of the round of 16 at the World Cup, but we've also got a huge fight to bring you on Saturday night, live and exclusive radio commentary of Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora, that WBC heavyweight title. We've got it from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday night for you, of course. Listen via your radio, your smart speaker, or download that TalkSport app for free. The app actually is going to come in very handy over the coming weeks, particularly if you're a football fan around Boxing Day time, because across those 3 days as well, we've got all 10 Premier League fixtures for you. So if you're off visiting family, as you tend to have to do around the festive period on the 26th, 27th or the 28th, or maybe you're being dragged to the sales for a bit of shopping, make sure you take your headphones, get the TalkSport app downloaded, because we will have all 10 Premier League games across the TalkSport network. 3 minutes left here. Al Bayt Stadium. Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. And Abdelkarim Hassan is having a bit of a set to with the referee as he looks to drive forward. He's been impressive as well, coming from the third of those three centre halves, almost at times trying to do what Sheffield United became so well known for doing in the Premier League. There's centre halves getting forward and providing overlaps and underlaps to the wing backs, but they just haven't done it enough. They've got enough bodies forward here, Qatar. They're on the move now. There's four at the edge of the penalty area, comes out as far as Akram Afif, and then the right-footed shot is driven well wide of the right hand upright by Pedro Miguel, and it'll be a goal kick for the Dutch.
Ambitious to say the least.
It's only about 35 yards out, Alvin.
You can see a little bit of a stardom there, but no, I thought he could have done better really on the second goal as well. We mentioned it, didn't we? There was a bit of a gift for De Jong. He just wanted it a little bit more. Miguel there switched off one side. To be fair, they haven't done bad defensively. They haven't been opened up countless times. But I think when you've got no real threat, you don't look like you're going to get a goal. I think that just heaps more and more pressure onto the midfield and onto the back five.
The Dutch are coming out the group stages once more of a World Cup, having failed to qualify in Russia in 2018. I think neither of us too convinced as to how much further they will go as winners of Group A. They'll definitely be playing on Saturday afternoon UK time at 3 o'clock, of course 6 o'clock in Qatar local time. Just who the opponents will be, we'll find out later tonight.
I think Van Gaal said they've got improving to do, no doubt about that. And on tonight's evidence, that's going to have to continue. I would have thought there's still a fair share of improvement to be done. When he looks at the video after the game and analyses this performance, like I said, while it's not being terrible, against the better teams, he's going to have a lot more ingenuity around the final third, and he's certainly going to be tested more as a defensive unit than he has been tonight.
Well, we saw the responses during that first half at times from Virgil van Dijk when he was making crucial interceptions, and his fury with the rest of his team. There is plenty of work to be done with this Dutch side. Maybe they're going to be a side that's going to grow into this competition. As we said earlier, sometimes you don't see the best teams from the group stages going on and winning it because maybe they have peaked too early. But you feel the Dutch are going to need a little more if they're going to get beyond, well, not just the round of 16, but potentially that quarter-final as well. All depends, of course, on who they'll play. It will be England, it will be Iran, it will be the USA, or it will be Wales who the Dutch meet in the next round. That's clicked in by Afif. Finally a header, one inside the box this time by Bourelem. And you hear the shrieks as every time Qatar get anywhere near the Dutch goal. But again, that was quite a comfortable gather for Noppert, who's had very little to do.
Yeah, that's right. 6 minutes extra time just been held up. I can't honestly see any change to the scoreline unless it's a Dutch goal. I can't really see any Qatar player looking likely to change that scoreline.
No, I mean, they certainly tried to get more bodies forward in the last 10 or 15 minutes, but at the same time the quality of delivery has not really been up to scratch, and it looks like it's going to be one goal and 3 defeats as things stand for the host nation, the worst host nation on record it will be. South Africa, of course, failed to get out of the group in 2010, but at least they kept their hope going through to the end of the third game in the group stages. For Qatar, it was all over and done with after match day 2, but to become the first side not to win, or actually to lose every group game, is an unwanted record, but it's one they'll take with them for sure. Here come the Dutch down the right again, and it's Timber slipping a ball in. The run was being made by Janssen. He is very upright running style, of course, formerly with Spurs, of course, didn't have the best of times. Dumfries trying to get in on the scoring act here. Weghorst into the penalty area, left-footed shot, he's swung in off the crossbar. It was a left-footed effort by Berghausen. Just cannons behind and out of play for a goal kick. He thought he scored earlier, but it was ruled out after a handball. This one's a sweet strike with his left foot. Maybe took a bit of a deflection and then cannoned off the top of the crossbar.
It looked like he'd measured that to perfection. You can see him sizing it up. and only the crossbar stops it.
Going to be a goal kick away to our left-hand side, which they've taken fairly quickly here. We've had 2 minutes of added time at the end of this game, as they've realised how to play on this near side. With 4 minutes remaining here, it's Netherlands 2, Qatar 0, and at this point, I'll hand you back to Dan Wynn.